Let's bring a Manchester United perspective into this one. Daniel, good morning.
Hi, Daniel.
Yeah, we're all well, thank you. So, obviously, you've been hearing the discussion. So, what do you want to say?
That's a bit feel sorry for Newcastle, isn't it? Because the rich owners can't pump hundreds of millions into the club. I think PSR was set up so owners don't pump hundreds of millions in. That then when they decide to pull out, the club can't carry on paying that. Yeah. And this whinging about the bigger clubs, we earned the right to do this over 30 years. It's not like we're funneling. We've got less money than them, but we earn more money because we've won the league X amount of times. We've won the Champions League. They've won one trophy in 70 years. You never can be able to compete. You will. You win the league twice in the next 5 years, or go find the Champions League in another 3 or 4 years. You'll be able to do it, but you can't just buy it instantly. I just can't understand why. I get that they must be gutted they're losing out on players, but you can't just want a state like Saudi to just buy everything.
No, that of course I get where you're coming from there, Daniel, and it's a good point in the sense of that PSR was brought in to protect clubs at the end of the day.
Yeah, for the safety of the club. Yes. But that's a much bigger picture, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
That's not on an instant season. That's over a long period of time.
Yeah.
And that's a decent idea. But you don't want football to be uncompetitive, where teams can't go and try and improve their squads and having handcuffs on them to stop their spending.
Yeah.
It's different if it's ridiculous and it's clearly going to send the club the wrong way.
Yeah, and as we know, the Leicester fairy tale was brilliant, but it's unlikely that that's going to happen again because it was a fairy tale.
Well, it won't happen for a long time until they change laws again.
Exactly, and the problem is that if you want to say the Big Six or whatever it is, or the teams that continuously are competing at the top end, and I'm talking more for the title, they're just going to, the gap is going to widen. It's just going to be impossible. It's very difficult for clubs to sort of break that gap, if you like, or close within those teams, because they're not the ones that are necessarily going to win the titles, which brings you those riches.
What about the clubs like yourself? We're not talking about winning the title, but look how you've bridged the gap by brilliant work at a football club, like Brighton have done, like Crystal Palace.
Yeah, but I don't see a point ever where we're not going to be a selling club.
No, that's a very common theme in France.
Yeah.
You're not going to compete against PSG.
No.
Marseille couldn't compete against PSG. They were so far. Their budget was like a quarter of what PSG's were, and they're the second biggest club in France. It's just like, so imagine we had that in England, that the best team or the biggest team was so far ahead of the rest that it was uncompetitive.
Yeah.
But you always want a surprise, don't you? You always want someone to achieve a dream of some sort.
And actually...
And that's what it's denying.
Forest were nearly there.
Yeah.
Forest were nearly there with last season and what they achieved. And obviously it went wrong just at the end when they missed out on Champions League football. But they were there. They were in it for so very, very long, and they would have bucked the trend. But yeah, it just feels...
Well, Newcastle bucked the trend when they did
That's true.
Newcastle did it under Eddie Howe. I mean, if you took 2 years before Newcastle, they were a team fighting relegation. Yeah. They made the Champions League. And that is what's great for football.
Yeah. But we don't want that gap to get bigger.
Yeah,
so that
if it gets any bigger, then it is, like you said, it's totally impossible.
Let's get to Tony, who's waiting. He's a Liverpool fan. How are you doing, Tony?
Hi, okay?
Yeah, hi, Tony.
I just wanted to speak about Newcastle. So
go for it.
The fact to blame PSR that they can't get signings over the board is ridiculous. If they didn't have the funds, they wouldn't go for Ekitike. If they didn't have the funds, they wouldn't go for Sesko. That's without selling Isak. So the money's there. The players don't want to go to Newcastle because outside of the northeast of England, no one knows who Newcastle are. They're not successful in Europe. I bet you Sesko search history on Google is what is a Newcastle. He hasn't got a clue who they are, and that's why they can't get players over the board.
I think that's a bit unfair, Tony, to say they don't know who they are. I mean, lots of fans in different countries do know a lot about different clubs in England. The Premier League is the absolute flagship of football, isn't it? In what it's become, it's huge, and many clubs are known all over the world now.
But when you're looking at you joining Manchester United or Newcastle, Manchester United are not well more known.
Yeah, of course I'm not debating that. I'm just saying that. But Newcastle would be well known as well, but maybe not to the levels of Manchester United. But that's like saying, AC Milan or Lazio. The AC Milan history is incredible, especially in the 90s. I just feel it's a little bit unfair on Newcastle that not about the player, but more to do with their stature as a club.
Yeah, appreciate the call though, Tony. Thank you very much. Let's get to Paul, who's waiting as well. Paul is a Newcastle fan. How are you, Paul? What did you make of what Tony had to say just then?
It's just a load of rubbish, isn't it? Like, what a load of nonsense. You go all over Europe, all over the world, and there's Newcastle fans everywhere. So how can we be a club that's not known? I'm not even talking about that anyway.
Yeah.
Like, the PSR rules, like, when is the bubble going to burst? Because these clubs can't keep on selling the hotels, car parks. Like, they can't keep on selling assets. So when do they stop selling the assets? And I don't understand what's going to happen. Because it's not a level playing field. You can't say that players do not want to come to Newcastle because it's Newcastle. That's a load of rubbish.
Now, Paul, can I just say something? Clubs will always find a loophole. They always do.
Well,
you know,
that's
you
the
said
problem with the rules.
Yeah, the rule. They're loopholes. They're
That is-
to be exposed.
It's fundamentally flawed. Any other industry that you're in is a level playing field. Everybody's any other business you go to, everybody can spend the same money on the same marketing, on the same members of staff, and your level playing field. It's all down to skill. And just because we've got more money now, they're scared that we're going to spend it. Well, of course we're going to spend it. That's the name of the game. We want to win. So what they're saying is, like the Man U fan earlier, they're entitled to win for the next 30 years because they won for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
Well, that's wrong.
Well, that's what Jack Walker did in the 90s. Jack Walker spent more than anybody else. That's why he got people like Shearer to go to Blackburn, yeah. You know, that's why he got success and won the league. I mean, Blackburn are a million miles away from that again now.
Thank you, they are. Paul, thank you very much. And quickly, let's get to Benjamin, who's a Manchester United fan. How are you, Benjamin?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi,
Loud and clear.
Yes, I do feel bad for the Newcastle fans, but to come on there and try and say that we feel like we're entitled to win and to be successful because we're a success. Who said that? Nobody said that. We're signing players that you're also interested in because they want to come to us. Nobody said that we're entitled to succeed because we used to succeed.
Look,
So-
headhunting happens everywhere in many different businesses, and players are no different. If you're in a position you want to headhunt a certain player and there's competitors, you know, you have a battle. Unfortunately for Newcastle, Manchester United have won that battle.
Yeah, exactly. And why did we win that battle? Probably going back to what the Liverpool man said. Yes, Newcastle have some fans around the world. We have billions of fans around the world. But the players around the world know Man United and what Man United are all about more than what they know Newcastle and what Newcastle are all about.
Benjamin, thank you. Really good call as well. Really varied.
Yeah, I was going to say it's not as black and white as that.
Oh, very good. How apt when we're talking about Newcastle.
No, I just think it's a bit harsh to say Newcastle's an established club, you know, worldwide. Is it to the levels of Manchester United and Liverpool? No. But I've seen Chelsea rise as a football club worldwide. Chelsea's a huge club now because of Abramovich and the selling of the club and all what happened in the late 90s, the type of player they brought in. I've seen that club grown. I don't know if a Chelsea today could start from where they were. It's like saying, you know, because when I was there, we was a mid-table at best. So we're looking at a Brentford, Crystal Palace. Could they ever be what Chelsea are in 25 years' time? Could Crystal Palace be that? Very unlikely with the rules.
It feels
now.
like, yes.
Very unlikely.
It's an impossible job as things stand.
That's what happened at Chelsea.
But it's all about bucking the trend somehow and
Right.
thinking, can you outsmart everybody in a different way? Which is the Brentford approach. That's what I always say. We try to outsmart everyone in a different way, but it's still very difficult because money talks at the end of the day.